All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning back in to another episode of Rusty Wrenchers. I really appreciate it. And welcome to part 2 of the 327 teardown rebuild. This is the small block 327 out of my 65C10 Cowboy. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, make sure you go back and check that out. Lots of good stuff in there. In part 1, we obviously got the motor out of the truck and got it tore down as far as you see here. We got the heads off, we got the oil pan off, and obviously all the things that go with that. So the plan here for part 2 is to pick up right where we left off in part 1. We're gonna finish the little bit of teardown that we've got left. There's not much, but I just kind of ran out of time in part 1. So we're gonna be pulling the balancer, timing cover's coming off because we are replacing the stupid timing gear set that I put in this thing. It's one of those noisy timing gear, dog bone gear sets. Sounded cool at the time, and it's just driving me nuts now. So we're gonna do away with that, but ultimately we're gonna tear this thing down completely down to the block, way farther than it ever needed to be torn down. But you know, I'm trying to preserve and prolong the life of this motor. This is my grandfather's engine. You know, if you've been watching my stuff from the very beginning last year and so on, you've heard me talk about this before. This is my grandfather's engine, came out of his 66 GMC that you see in the background of some videos, I'm sure. But anyway, the plan is that this thing will be seeing more miles than it has seen in decades. So I want to prolong the life of this engine. So doing a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be done, but we're going to do it anyway. Planning on new piston rings, a quick ball hone with all the cylinders just to deglaze, put some fresh cross hatching in there so those new rings got something to bite into. Let's jump right in. We got a lot of work to do. It's about 10 o'clock at night, a beautiful Minnesota night here. Got all the kiddos put to bed, so I figured I'd take advantage and head out here into the garage for a little while. So let's see what we can get done tonight, and then we'll pick up where we left off, you know, see what we need to do tomorrow morning. But let's dive right in. All right, well, I think first order of business is going to be to get this balancer off here. I got my balancer puller. We'll get this pulley and balancer off, pull the timing cover, and let's get these idiotic, noisy timing gear set out of here. So. Where are my damn screwdrivers? Jesus. One of these days you'll think I'll get to know my toolbox. Alright guys, so we got the timing cover off here, and I just wanted to take a quick second to show you before I pull everything out of here what a timing gear set is for those of you who have never heard of or seen one before. Traditionally, you've got your cam gear and your crank gear that are going to be connected via a chain, what kind of resembles a bicycle or a motorcycle chain. But what can happen over time with a chain is, depending on how old your chain and motor are, how hard you've been driving it, that kind of thing, is that chain can actually stretch and develop slack. And what can happen is that either A, breaks the chain, or B, the chain will develop enough slack to where it starts to jump teeth on these gears here, throwing the timing off in your motor. And absolute catastrophic worst case scenario is that either one of these things happen at high RPM and it throws your engine off enough to where it sends the connecting rod for cylinder 3 through the bottom of the block. And there you go. So what these are obviously designed to do is eliminate the risk of any chain slack developing by eliminating the chain. These are also supposed to, or it's said that these increase your throttle response a little bit, maybe giving you a few extra horses under the hood. And these in particular are a noisy timing gear set. That means they're intentionally manufactured to give off kind of a whirring sound as the engine is running. I think the idea behind it was, or some guys say, that it sounds like you've got a roots blower under the hood. I think it just sounds like you got something wrong with your motor. So we're going to be doing away with these. We're going to be going back to a traditional double roller timing chain set. We'll keep these around because I'm a hoarder and I can't get rid of anything. And we'll throw them on something else maybe in the future. But there you go. That is a timing gear set. Puller. Shit. So I need a puller to pull this crank gear off. I don't have one, and O'Reilly's is long closed now. So let's see if I can't throw something together, maybe rig something up to get the job done. So let's see what I can come up with here. I am a genius. This is either going to work brilliantly or fail in a brilliant flash of light and catastrophe. Let's do it. Oh God, here we go. Mint. Alrighty, so the to-do list is getting shorter by the minute. I would like to ultimately finish the complete teardown. So to do that, we'll have to get this oil pump off of here, start pulling these pistons out of here, then we'll crack these main caps off, check those out, get the crank out of here, and then we'll be set to start re-ringing pistons, doing the block work, and start the reassembly as soon as possible. I want to get this thing back together, back in the truck, so we can start driving it. I already missed a local car show today because this thing was in pieces, but there'll be plenty more to come this year that we'll take you along for. So let's keep on trucking. Alright, first piston is out, and first impressions are good. Honestly, these rings still look pretty healthy considering their age, but I don't know, we might still do them anyway. We're in here, let's just do it. Connecting rod bearings are worn. They're not bad, but they are worn. There is some scoring going on in them. And just the finish is starting to come off. They're looking worn. They got miles on them for sure. And we got a little bit of scoring on the skirts, which I suspect we'll see in the cylinders themselves, but nothing that I don't think a ball hone will fix or won't fix. So very pleased with what we're seeing so far. Let's go ahead and keep on trucking, getting the rest of these things out of here. got all the pistons out, and again, as the farther I went through the motor, stuff just kept on looking great. Nothing concerning at all. I think this motor is going to clean up fantastic. We get these cylinders deglazed, some new rings in it. Boy, this thing is going to be hot. So next order of business, and the last thing we're going to do for tonight is start taking off these main bearings, crack a couple of them loose first, and go through and take all these out, because the crank ultimately is going to have to come all the way out. Even if the main bearings aren't bad, it is going to have to come out, because I do want to hone these cylinders, as I mentioned earlier. So let's get on that. It's getting real late. We're into the next day now, so let's finish this up. Not looking too bad. We're worn, but not worn out, which is the good thing. Definitely got some miles on her, got some years, but I'm not seeing any damage. We do have a little bit of a weird mark in this front one, but the journal on the crank looks good. I don't see any major scoring. We do have a small score kind of right dead center, which is kind of where that mark is, but nothing I'm worried about, honestly, with the kind of performance that this engine will be doing. So let's keep on going. I'm expecting more of the same. So we're looking good. Looking very, very good. Closer we get to the back of the motor, the more severe wear I'm seeing, but again, still not worn out or bad, I would say. But we definitely are seeing heavier wear the closer to the rear of the engine that we get. This one is better than this one was, so maybe we were just seeing a little bit of we're in the middle. Again, the journals are not seeming to be coming out harmed, so I think we're in the clear. This is going to be one that's got our rear main in it, which I also have a new one of. Yeah, our rear main is due to be changed, but honestly, our rear main bearing is the nicest one out of all of them. I can almost see original cross hatching in it. So very good, very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, teardown is complete. All the way down to the block here. Let me get this thing spun around. We got the crank out, all the pistons out, straight down to the block. We'll be able to clean this thing up, really clean all the gasket surfaces, get in here and deglaze all of these cylinder walls. Again, not seeing anything in there that's concerning. Some marks here and there. But overall, I'm very happy with the condition of the innards of this motor. This is the farthest into this engine I've ever been. And very pleased for its age, for all these original components coming out. This thing is going to run really well when we're all wrapped up with it. All right, guys, I think it's about time we call it a night. It is early in the morning at this time, so I'm going to go in and go to bed, get some sleep. We'll be back at it tomorrow to start some of the block work, getting this thing cleaned up, cleaning the gasket surfaces, honing the cylinders out, because I want to get to reassembling this thing as soon as possible so we can get the C10 back on the road. So we will see you guys in the morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day number D of part yes of the 327 teardown overhaul build series. Today I want to get the cylinders honed out. I want to get the lifter journals cleaned out. I want to get most of this paint stripped off because I am going to be changing the color. I was just going to repaint it the traditional Chevy orange, but I think I might change it because I'm going with a little bit of a certain scheme here that I want it to look like under the hood, because I'm an aesthetics guy, you know. It's just a thing. I can't help it. So let's jump right in. We got a lot of work to do because I'd like to get this thing ready for assembly by the end of today. I got some parts on order that are coming, so by the next episode, we'll have all the parts we need to get this thing put back together and hopefully reinstalled in the truck and get to hear this thing roar to life again for the first time in a while. So let's jump right in. Alright, so I think we're going to start with a little bit of the paint stripping. I'm just going to take a cheek poker to the block to try to get some of this paint off. And then ultimately, when we're done after that, we'll do the cylinder honing and all that stuff because this thing will get a nice hot soapy bath and get all the filings and everything out of the cylinders. Obviously, before we start reassembly. So let's just, let's get to wire wheeling, huh? Alright, so the block cleanup is coming along pretty good. I went ahead and threw on the heads and the valve covers, just held on by a couple of bolts each because they are going to be getting the same paint treatment. Not these valve covers, but these heads. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to leave them the cast, if I can get them far enough down to be the cast color, or if I'm going to paint them a cast, but I kind of want to go for the raw cast look on the heads. But went ahead and threw these old valve covers that I had laying around on too, to try to clean up some of these mating surfaces for the gaskets and whatnot. I got a lot of old gasket here that I wasn't able to get off. But let's go ahead and keep on going with the engine, with the block cleanup, and start working on these heads, and then we'll move on to the honing pretty soon. So gave this thing a quick hose down just to get all that grime that those wire wheels picked up and threw all over the place. Next we're going to get these heads back off of here, and I think it's time to start some ball honing. Honing is coming along pretty good. I'm out of lubricant, out of lube. I hate when I'm out of lube. So I'm about to run down and get some lube here, get some PB Blaster. This is a real down and dirty hone. I know some of you car guys are probably cringing watching this. But you know, it works, and I'm just doing it here in my garage. It's not a high performance engine, just calm down, okay? It's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine, I promise. But the hone is coming along very nicely. We've got a little bit of vertical scoring here that's a little bit deeper than I anticipated. But I do have a straight edge 3-blade hone, but I don't really feel the need to use it on this because this was a good running engine, had a little bit of blow by. Those vertical scores in the cylinder walls was definitely where our blow by was coming from because the rings aren't in that bad a shape. But we'll give these new rings some fresh cross hatching to eat into, but I need to get a little bit deeper with this ball hone here to try to get rid of some of that scoring. There is actually in a couple of these cylinders, it's tough to see here. Let's see if I can get you guys in here to look. But you can kind of see here, we've got the line. This engine was stuck when my dad and I first got our hands on it. It had been sitting with the intake manifold wide open, the carburetor was off of it. So we did have water that did get down into those cylinders at some point in its past. And when we took possession of this motor out of the old 66, it was stuck, locked up tighter than Alcatraz. So I got a feeling some of these spots here are the rings where the rings were stuck and they left some ridges that just never fully burned off. So I'm going to try to eat through those, give this thing a nice, clean, level surface to eat through all the way through. But first things first, I need some more lube. So after some pretty significant honing with the ball hone, I have still got, especially on this side, some pretty gnarly pitting from where those rings were stuck way back when we got this engine. So I broke out the old 3-stone hone. I got to be careful so I don't hone these out too much that my rings that I got don't expand enough, because I bought rings from Summit that are supposed to be OEM gapped, which means that you don't have to gap them. They're already pre-filed to fit a stock bore. So I can't affect this too much. So I got to be careful when I'm honing. Here's my daughter. She's just doing laps around the house in her Jeep. Here she goes again. Anyway, I got to be careful to not hone too much with that 3-stone, with the stone hone, because that will eat through a lot faster than that ball hone will. So I got a feeling I'd have to hone a lot to get those to where the rings wouldn't seal properly. So I think we'll be okay, but just got to kind of proceed with some caution here and see if we can't eat through some of that pitting and corrosion that got into these cylinder walls way back in the day. Nope, I'm okay. Watch where you're going. All right, well, I really let those hones eat for a while. I really did a lot of honing with that 3-stone hone. It was taking off a lot of material. I could see it in the runoff out of the cylinders, how thick, almost like gravy, that the filings were. So I don't want to take any more out. The imperfections are still there. If we really wanted to get rid of them, hypothetically, if we were really going to put a lot of horsepower through this motor, I would have this thing bored 30 over minimum to get rid of that imperfection. But we're not going to do that. This is not a high-performance truck, at least not at this point. This is going to be very much more of a rat rod style build, where it just needs to cruise. It's just a cruiser for me. That's all it's going to be. I'm not going to take this thing to the track or anything like that. So it's kind of going to be is what it is. The imperfection is still there, but we'll deal with it. We'll get some fresh rings in it and just let her eat. And it's going to be kind of what it is. There probably will still be some blow by, but with the fresh rings and the fresh hone on this thing, it's going to drastically decrease the amount of blow by we have, which I'm okay with. So that is going to do it for this episode of Rusty Wrenchers. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Be sure to tune in next time as we hopefully complete the rest of the 327 overhaul. We got a lot done today. We got all the block work done. We got it honed out. We got the lifter journals cleaned out. We got all the paint stripped off, or most of the paint stripped off. In the meantime, I'm going to get this thing repainted, and we're going to keep on going on this thing. Hopefully the next time you guys see it, we will be in the reassembly process. And as soon as we get this thing reassembled, we will get it reinstalled back in the C10 and hear this thing roar to life again with a whole bunch of brand new components. And it'll be the healthiest this motor has ever been. So thank you again so much for watching, guys. We'll see you guys next time.